talk your amazing movie. Got the chance to check it out. Loved every second of it. So my first question for you is, how did you become a part of the film?
How did I become a part of the film? So basically this was way back in 2020, I think. It had to be 2020 because we pushed our shoot a whole year and some change. But originally I was in Orange County, as one is when they're quarantining. I was there because of school. And I heard from the film originally from my mom. She always sends me scripts or some projects to see like if I, from film school perspective, find it interesting, what my take is. And so I was reading the script and I saw how many spunky characters there were. And at that time, I was just getting into acting. I was in classes and I asked her, I was like, hey, I was like, I think it's a cool project. It'll be fun. Do you know if if they're holding auditions for the girls? And she didn't, she was like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Let me ask. And so she was talking to the producers and so they were really happy with the idea of me auditioning. And so then I sent in my auditions for, originally it was for Ashley and Taylor, but personally I felt so drawn to Taylor. I loved her, just her entire storyline. So when I originally was talking with them and I sent in my auditions, I was like, I'm hoping and praying that I get Taylor because I want a chance to not only sing on screen, but, you know, just be able to be a little bit more moody and a little bit more, I guess, emo, because that was her whole shtick. I feel like a lot of people say that I bring a lot of light. And I was like, I kind of want to be chill for once. And it was nice. It was such a cool experience. But we literally were supposed to shoot 2021, summer of 2021, and then COVID restrictions were not the nicest. And so then we pushed it to the next year. And so I was sitting with Taylor for a long time.
Yeah. So the length that you had to sit with her, did you also know who was cast as the other three girls? So did you guys use that opportunity to kind of get to know each other a little bit more? Or do you like, nope, we're just going to wait till filming happens?
Yeah, no. So originally, I think we had a different, there were a few girls that were supposed to be casted differently, and through COVID and other pre agreements, they couldn't do it. But I know that Leah was attached from the start. And I personally, I'd never met anyone in the cast. And I remember even before flying in, I was so nervous. I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. Like, everyone's so professional. It's going to be, you know, nerve-wracking. And then when I was getting off the plane, we landed in Newark, I forgot my guitar on. So I turned around and I go to get my guitar at the coat rack in the plane. And then me and this girl are grabbing two different guitars and we make eye contact. And we were like, oh, that's cool. The girl has a guitar. That'd be nice. Later on at baggage claim, we were standing next to each other with our guitars. And that's when we kind of put it together because we were wearing masks. And then I don't remember if I reached out to her, she reached out to me, but we both, you know, made an introduction. That was the first person I met. And then ever since then, I just through pre-production, I met everyone. But Leah and I met in the airport and we've been tight ever since.
That is like the perfect beginning of a friendship, by the way.
Right? It's like so meet cutie. I love it.
So that'll be the sequel, is like if we had to go back, that's how you two originally met.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So let's talk your singing in the movie. Your voice is absolutely phenomenal. So with you and Jessica Marini, oh my goodness, harmonized so beautifully. It was perfect. So can you talk to me a little bit about singing in the movie?
Singing in the movie, excuse me, singing in the movie. It was sick. I mean, music's been such a big part of my life for as early as I can remember. My grandparents were both music teachers. My grandpa was a like multi-instrumental, smart as a whip guy that always made everyone in the family take classes with him and learn how to play multiple instruments. And then my grandma was a voice teacher. And so she was in college singing in operas and like could play the organ. And so it was always something that I knew I was going to do, but I was and still am extremely shy. And so when it came to performing on set, I think that was the first time, and I'm going to be honest, that was the first time I've sung like solo by myself in public, like on a stage. Usually if I'm in a performance, like I'm, playing bass in the background, I'm doing harmonies, I'm not like taking center stage and like doing the deal. And now as I'm like approaching my music career, it's going to become more often. And I think I remember thinking when I went up there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a very surreal first experience of like getting up on stage and like letting my heart out on, or even in the cafe scene where I was playing a song that I wrote. I think I wrote it like that day when we rolled up. I was like, I am terrified. I am so scared. If I'm singing to like my band in rehearsal or, very privately to myself. But it was a really cool experience to sing in front of a crew of people I like at the time barely knew in the beginning. And then slowly through different performances got more comfortable with. But
Let's talk about the song you wrote that day. Did you know you were supposed to be writing a song, or were they just like, if you can get one, get one?
No, so it was crazy. I had an inkling that I would have to sing in that scene. It's like, oh, Taylor's performing. And something in the back of my mind was like, they don't have a song for me to sing. It was like, there are songs for the temporary track for what we were going to do for the performance that I can learn. But I knew that I wanted to have a song of my own just in case, because if I have my own song, I can learn how to play it, or I can know how to play it and bring, my own taste, my own sound to the character. And so when I was writing it, I think I wrote it half of it the night before. And then kind of as like a light idea, I was just tweedling around. And then that day on set, Shruti, the director, came over to me and was like, this is going to be really random, but I was wondering if you could like play anything. And I was like, oh, I have a song already fully written for this scene. And so I had to like finish up the chorus, the lyrics of the chorus. And I remember I was talking to Joe Ellen, my love interest. And I was like, Joe, does this song or does this line sound better than this line? Like, what do you think about this? And I was just like trying to make it work out. And then probably 10 minutes before we started shooting, I finished it. And then it got all together and I had the song for the scene. But it was, again, so strange.
Yeah, you'd never know you had written it that morning.
Yeah.
Just how easily it flowed into the scene, and just that whole backdrop was beautiful. So kudos to you for coming up with it when you needed to.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was great songwriting exercises. It was like a good writing process.
Well, let's also talk about your love interest in the movie. You and Joe Ellen, from the second the two of you appear on screen together, absolutely fantastic. And I had the opportunity to speak with her yesterday, and we were talking about how even though you guys have very little scenes together throughout the movie, it's like we've been watching you forever. That's how instantaneous it is. So can you talk to me a little bit about that chemistry and how you two created it?
Yeah, Joellen is so sweet. Joellen is the sweetest. I think it was in pre-production still when we met. Shruti introduced us together when we were going over the script and getting like a lot of costuming things figured out. And I remember has a very big musical theater background. She went to school, I think, in Michigan. And when we first initially met, we were talking about that. We were talking about her experience in school, and I was talking about my like obsession with Sondheim. And over time, we just started to get close. And she lives and is based in New York, and I'm from New York as well. And so having that common bond was really, really great for foundation. And then when I think it was the cafe scene, that same scene where I was singing the song. That was the first thing we shot together, or like in the same day that we were working. And so it was an hour away from a base camp. And so afterwards we like took a drive, or she didn't have a ride. And so I drove, and we just got to catch up, and we talked about like Prom, the movie that she starred in, and what it was like to work with Ryan Murphy, which is like a dream of mine, being obsessed with American Horror Story that I am. And so it was cool. It was really, really sweet. I mean, like I felt so comfortable, and I love her to bits. She's the chillest.
Now, this movie straight up is just about friendship. Nothing catty, nothing mean about each other. Obviously, we have our little twist thrown in here, but it is all about friendship. So do you yourself still have friends from way back when, that even though now that you all are older and things have changed that you still rely on, just like the four of you relied on each other in the movie?
Yes. Oh my God. It's really surreal when your friends from elementary school, middle school, high school, whenever they are, your friends from the past, the friends from your old side, when they are like inserted into your current life and like your current friendships, where if you live in the same city, if they're coming to visit, whatever it is, I always think it's like, it feels like a Disney Channel crossover episode where I'm like, oh, this is my friend from work that I met like last year. And this is my friend that knows all of my like lore of my life. They're communicating in front of me. And I think it's so, we still have each other's back. The ones that I have from high school, I'm from originally from New York, but I lived in LA for a bit in my childhood. And so it's so trippy seeing my friends from here in this like adult mindset. And but it's also really refreshing because at times, even having those genuine relationships to tap into when you're going through something or struggling, it's like really refreshing because you don't feel like, oh, like these new friendships, like there's a distant, or like it feels not as deeply grounded. Like you have to remember that, oh, those deep ones that are there throughout anything and everything, no matter what, are hopefully going to stay. And as a loyal person myself, I'm like, I hold those true to my heart. They're deep as ever.
They're exactly. And you guys get to see that in this movie. You guys have created something that's really a lot of fun and really enjoyable. And so with that, I'm going to wrap, but I want to thank you so much for speaking with me today. I'm really excited for everyone to see the movie.